To say the least, the price of oil is up in the air after plunging Friday following the U.S. and Iran's decision to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran reversed course, firing on a tanker attempting to pass through the waterway. Joining us now is Ted Jenkin, president of Exit Stage Left Advisors. Ted, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to see you, Robert.
So we'll talk more about markets in just a bit, but first I want to ask you about oil prices because they plunged about 10% Friday with the announcement. What should we expect if the strait stays closed?
Well, look, we're in the period of the certainty of uncertainty, Robert. You know, oil was down quite a bit yesterday because the biggest choke point in the world, the Strait of Hormuz, finally opened up. And as you mentioned, Iran denies that it's actually open for business. And we could see this easily reverse course on Monday. But that's why the Brent crude price was down to $88 or down 10% yesterday.
Absolutely. And, we know that 20% of the global oil, world's oil comes through that strait, especially impacting European markets. Ted, just how high could prices rise if there is no stop to this war? Is there a cap?
Well, this is not really about supply and demand. It's really about geopolitical risk. So we could easily see oil prices fall back to $60, $70 a barrel. We could easily see it go up to $150 or $170 a barrel. I mean, the problem is nobody really knows day to day right now what's going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz. And until there's a ceasefire that people actually believe, we're going to see this major volatility in oil prices.
So as Americans, head to the pump and they see those prices fluctuate, what should they expect moving forward if this war continues and the strait continues to be closed? Because the Trump administration has said that, we are not as impacted as, other countries due to the strait being impacted.
Well, we're most definitely impacted in my view. Look, gas stations are selling fuel. They already bought at higher prices. So prices just aren't going to come down that quickly until gas station owners get new and cheaper supply. And Americans need to remember, if they study history, that gas prices tend to go up like a rocket during times like this, and they tend to fall like a feather. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. But for now, they're going to stay higher.
Right. So Ted, markets had a field day Friday after closing while the strait was open briefly. But as we mentioned, it's again closed. What can we expect come Monday?
My guess is that if Iran denies that the Strait of Hormuz is open, we're going to see another drop in the stock market on Monday. But this is the seesaw game that we play every single day with the market. I tell most people, if you're invested in the stock market, it should be for at least 5 years, so you're not worried about this day-to-day volatility. But as long as this occurs, Robert, we're going to see a lot of hiccups in the market.
Sure. As traders react to this back and forth, openings and closings, are there any long-term implications, Ted? And is there any whiplash effect, or could markets just stop reacting?
No, I don't think that they will stop reacting right now because, like I mentioned, this is not about a supply and demand issue with oil. It's really about geopolitical risk, and there are still other wars going on around the world. All of these impact the markets, both the global markets and the United States market. So I think that we're going to see whiplash at least for the next 3 to 6 months while this continues to go on. Right.
The markets do not take well to uncertainty on the globe. Ted Jenkin, thank you so much for your perspective today and helping to break down this, what could be complicated topic at times.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on, Robert.
You bet.